I sell HDMI modded N64s on my website, retroremaster.com. Because of that, some of you won't trust my opinion on this device. Well, whether it's from me or anyone else, I think you should probably buy an Analog 3D over a modded N64. Let me explain. I, like many of you, don't like how Analog runs their business. Between all of the delays, stock issues, and broken promises, it's hard to like the company. But I do have to admit that both the Pocket and the 3D are some of the most premium consoles I have ever owned. The Pocket is pretty much the only handheld I ever reach for that isn't original hardware, and the 3D might just be the only N64 I use going forward. I said might. First, let's go over what I love about the Analog 3D, then my dislikes, and compare it to modded original hardware. For the past few months, I've been slowly converting all of my consoles that have HDMI output and power or charge off of USB-C. I'm doing this so I can easily swap consoles in and out of my setup and not have to worry about stupid proprietary cables. And even though my N64 already has HDMI and USB-C for power, I am super happy to see that it's a simple HDMI and USB-C setup for the Analog 3D. Plus, not only are cables included, so is a 30-watt USB-C brick. After unboxing, updating, and playing a little bit, not only does it look amazing, every game I've played runs flawlessly. Like, even better than on original hardware. Not only can the 3D output 4K 60, there are multiple different overclocking settings that removes most of the frame dips and stutters you'd normally see on an N64. I should mention here that my capture card doesn't do 4K, so most of the footage you're going to see is in 1080p, or I'll just point my camera at a 4K TV. Games like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye that normally chug are now able to run buttery smooth on this console. So far, I've set every game to Unleashed, and it's been great. But apparently some games will crash, so you might want to mess around with it on a per game basis. And if it wasn't obvious, there is a built-in expansion pack option. I've never been a fan of added fake scan lines, but the many different options here look so good that I'm choosing the PVM effect more often than the clean look. The other options like deblur, texture filtering, anti-aliasing, and the many other display mode options make these games look more beautiful than we have ever seen on a console. And even though the N64 never had an operating system, I love the little details of each game on the homepage. You will need to put the images on the SD card because Analog only put those on the review units, but thankfully Retro Game Core uploaded the files to his GitHub, so you can get them there. I'll link it down below with everything else I talked about today. But overall, I really like the aesthetics of the Analog 3D, from the console itself to the visuals it outputs. However, I do have a few big complaints. OpenFPGA is not supported by this console. I know this is something that they mentioned in the listing and in the FAQs, but I would have loved to see that here. It is one of my favorite things about my Analog Pocket, so I was pretty disappointed when I found out. I know the N64 controller wouldn't be the best for playing NES, SNES, and all the other consoles OpenFPGA lets us play on the Pocket, but it still would have been nice to have. And that brings up another frustration of mine. While this does have Bluetooth support for controllers, at the time of recording, it only works specifically with the N64 8-bit DOE controller or their N64 controller mod. Why is Bluetooth locked down so much? What's the point of even having Bluetooth here? At least let me use my NSO N64 controller. I don't even want to call this Bluetooth support because 2 controllers is just pathetic. I am at least happy to report that my Retro Fighters controller does work here, so I at least have one wireless controller option. From what I'm seeing online, people are able to use these blue retro adapters with potentially a little bit of added input lag, but I don't want to buy one because I shouldn't have to since this console is literally branded with the Bluetooth logo. I just hope we don't have to wait for the community to open this console up to more controllers and maybe more console cores. Because even if we don't see other cores for other consoles, I would at least hope that we can load up our ROMs onto the SD card. 3DOS looks awesome with the little cart art, and I would love to have all of my games on here looking like this. I understand that the point is to actually use the cartridges, but I like having options, and it would be nice to be able to back up our cartridges' ROMs and save data through the console, especially when the 3D doesn't really play nice with flash cards. Initially, only the Summer Cart 64 worked with this, but very quickly after launch, Crix updated the EverDrive so they will work now too, but the problem with that is you need to use a real N64 to get it fully ready to be used with the Analog 3D. And I've heard that it still won't be fully compatible with all of the Analog 3D settings, but I can't confirm that because I don't have an EverDrive. What I do have is a cheap AliExpress knockoff, the ED64 Plus, that does not work with the Analog 3D. And I have a Pico cart that does work, but I broke it flashing too many different games testing out this console in the first place. So that's why I'm using other people's footage for certain games because I don't own them and I can't play them on a flash card on here. Those are the big complaints that I have, but there are still a few nitpicks that I'd like to mention here, like the power switch. It's like the DS Lite's power switch, and not the satisfying thud of the original, which I wouldn't mind if we had a way to turn off the console from the menu. At least we can't do that as of version 1.1. And when I do turn it on, it takes a shockingly long amount of time to even pop up on my TV. Also, I don't know if there's a way to reset the game within the menus currently. But hey, the games run great and look great, except for some reason the blacks in Star Fox are gray and grainy no matter what settings I change. And while I stand by the fact that the games look amazing on here, I gotta say that original hardware has much more vibrant colors. At least the Ultra HDMI that I have in my personal N64 has better colors, which I just don't really understand because of the 32-bit color option and the fact that it goes into HDR mode on my OLED TV. But if I wasn't comparing it to anything, I wouldn't have any complaints with the colors. Honestly, I didn't think the colors were muted until I had both consoles on, flipping between HDMIs. Lastly, this is just kind of dumb all the way around. Not only is the SD card not spring-loaded, they included a custom, slightly shorter SD card. I understand that it was to make it not stick out of the console too much, but why couldn't they just mount the SD card slot a little further back on the board? It's kind of hard to get it out of the console, and it will get entirely swallowed up by some SD card readers. So be careful. Also, where the heck are save states? But let's finally go back to the part where I said you should probably get this over a modded N64. Because at the very least, the Analog 3D blows my N64s out of the water. I sell N64s that are modded with the High-Speed Edo HDMI mod, which is a budget mod that takes the image up to only 720p with a very limited amount of options. The only real advantage that my N64s have are the cool color options for the shells. I can't even beat Analog's pricing, and they have a long list of features that I just can't supply. I sell mine for $300, and even though they raised their price by $20, they're still under me at $270. And even if you go for the best N64 mod, install it yourself, and use an N64 that you already have, that mod alone will cost $200 and only gets you up to 1440p. That price still excludes so many of the features of the Analog 3D, and some of those features are also just impossible to get on original hardware. But the problem with me recommending an Analog product is the fact that they still have major stock issues. Good luck getting one now that you missed the pre-order window. Who knows when they'll have it in stock again? I could see them doing a couple more drops at higher prices for the fantastic colors, like they did with the Pocket, but only time will tell. Oh, would you look at that? I was right. I scripted and recorded this video about a week and a half ago because I put all these videos out a week early for the members. Hit that join button down below if you want videos a week early. And yeah, I was right. They did drop the fantastic colors already, but I had no idea it was going to be this fast. According to Reddit, some people haven't even gotten their original pre-orders from a year ago, yet they guarantee a Christmas delivery. And since I'm shooting 100% from the field right now, I'm gonna say that these ain't coming back in stock ever again. They might do another run of other limited edition colors like they did with the Analog Pocket, but I don't think they're gonna release metal versions of this console or the original Game Boy Color colors of the console like they did with the Analog Pocket, because this isn't a Game Boy Color. Oh, what? Now it says shipping in 2026? So maybe they're gonna add more? I don't know. But they do have the black and white models in stock right now. I guess, like I'm about to say, you're not completely SOL unless it goes out of stock in the next 24 hours before this video goes live. Oh, okay, these ship in January 2026. Can you believe them? I don't know. And since I'm making a mini update to this video before it goes live, everything that I've talked about that isn't on this console, whether it is promised or not, is still not added to this console. Cool. Back to the rest of the script. If I was a betting man, I'd bet your SOL if you don't already have one now. And you'll probably have to be extremely lucky to get an order in for any potential future drops. However, there is one more console that I need to mention here. The M64. Mod Retro, the people behind the Chromatic, have been teasing their N64 FPGA clone for a while now, and that should actually be pretty decent at a pretty decent price. I think it's butt ugly, and they probably will raise the price by $100 a year later, like they did with the Chromatic, but hey, at least they keep their products in stock. You can even go buy a Chromatic right now at GameStop. But for what it's worth, I never touch my Chromatic unless I need to for a video. It's not like it's a bad device, I just prefer a modded Game Boy or the Analog Pocket more. That's just my opinion. So to sum it all up, I really like this console. I think it's better than probably any modded N64 console out there. At least it's definitely easier and or cheaper, but unless you can actually get your hands on one of these things, this video is kind of pointless. Obviously, I would love for you to continue buying modded N64s for me at retroremaster.com, but I would rather you get a way better experience for cheaper. So if Analog does get their stock issues straightened out and or Mod Retro's M64 is a solid console too, I might phase out my modded N64s. Unfortunately, I just can't compete with what they got. But who knows? The Analog Pocket, the Chromatic, nor the FPGBC have really slowed down my modded Game Boy sales. retroremaster.com. But I think that's about it for me. So like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. I really don't want to have to buy a Summer Kart 64 just for this console, so please, somebody mod this thing. I would do it if I knew how.